any more proper. I saw you like fixing your hair there as if like it's
Well,
gonna make a
that's
difference.
what all women do, though. We all, like, look in the camera and fix our hairs, it's like, "Alright,
Okay.
it's time. Let me sit up straight and fix my hair."
All right, do me a favor. Here's what we do at the beginning of this all the time. Go retweet it if
Alright.
you so desire. And I'm going to pin
I
this to the top of my page. That's what we
will.
have to do. Pin to your profile. Welcome everyone to this episode of. I don't even have a name for it. I just say Tim runs his mouth. I think people just assume it's Tim runs his mouth. I'm here with my favorite reporter from
Wow! I get the title of
the
favorite?
Daily Signal. Yes, because you're just such a nice person. The Daily Signal, Virginia Allen. Which, by the way, have you considered changing your handle on social media?
Okay, you mean to just straight Virginia Allen? Someone else has that handle. I once tried to go and, like, track it down and get it.
But you have Virginia underscore Allen 5.
Yeah. Okay, so I've always liked the way that underscores look in handles for some reason. I feel like it just looks, like, clean, and then 5 is my favorite number. So,
Really? Is it a
yeah.
baseball thing? Like, why is 5 your favorite number?
So I was born at 5:55 AM.
That was
Um,
5:43.
really?
Yeah,
Wow,
in
we were
another
close.
decade, many decades away. Yeah,
Maybe a different year. I don't know,
yeah.
maybe not. Could have been the same year, but
No, no, I don't think so, man. I think I've got you by at least 10.
you might I don't think you have me by that much, but by a little.
I'm
Anyway, but
44.
yeah,
I got
5
you
is
by more. I
favorite
got you.
number.
I'm 44. You can't be. You're not 30.
Oh, I'm 32.
Oh, well, we're learning a lot here.
Oh!
Well, I'm sorry. Uh,
Oh,
hello, Danny Avery. I found out yesterday, by the way, that not a lot of people know that there's a chat. I was doing this and people were like,
oh!
"There's a chat?" I'm like, "What?" Because I was like, there were like 20,000 people watching. Not
Mhm.
that many right now. We need to get these numbers up, Virginia Allen, do something.
We'll work on
Um, I don't know. But like, so there were like 20,000 and there was nobody in the chat. And I'm like, what is happening here? And then people started going, "Oh, we didn't know there was a chat. We had to go find it."
it.
It's fine.
No, the chat's so fun. I mean, it makes it interactive. I'm impressed at your ability to pay attention to the chat and talk at the same time.
Oh,
You have
well,
great,
it's
multitasking
ADHD.
skills.
Should we start with where I was going to bother you, or should we start with? Let's start with something good because I have some problematic women questions. You're one of
Okay.
those of the problematic women podcast that you know I want to
Yes.
be on it. I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
seeing clips of the problematic women lately and just assessing them.
We're gonna have you on,
Yeah.
but you just have to give me a little more warning than, "Oh, you're about to hit record. Can I sit down?"
I think that's great. I think that keeps things lively. That keeps things. Hello, Emmett Smith. There's Emmett Smith. He has a bourbon collection.
Oh.
Um, uh, I think it keeps things lively. I could really shake it up with
Yeah.
the
You
problematic
you
women.
would absolutely shake up problematic women.
One of the
There's no doubt about that, Tim.
One of the people texting me tonight, by the way, while we're doing this, is Crystal, one of your co-hosts on the
Yes,
Problematic Women.
Crystal's amazing and a very problematic woman and has
She is
been
a very
working hard to help prepare Dr. Roberts for the monk debate that he is
right?
currently doing right now.
The monk debate. This is him right now. This is live. I think this is his opening statement. But what is happening behind him? Is that a lady in a hoodie or is that a hijab?
No, that's a hijab.
I don't know. Look, because again,
They're in
have you,
Canada. It's Canada. So,
I would of all the people that I would not want to debate Kevin Roberts. Guy's
oh, absolutely
smart.
not.
Yeah.
Well, he's smart, but he also his delivery is so thorough, thoughtful, but also
Oh,
kind.
yes.
Like, I would personally just be like, "I'm the worst person ever to, like, just tear into him," because, like, he's so articulate, but he's also just such a kind human.
Yeah, no, I describe him as normal. I think he's a
Yep.
normal guy, and, like, he's the first head of the Heritage Foundation in my lifetime, and you might have been around longer than me and, obviously in Heritage, but, like, that I like. Like, I think he's normal. Like, when he starts talking about conservatism, I'm like, "Hey, this guy I should listen to this guy. Like, he's cool."
He just makes sense, and I
Yes.
think he's not afraid to say some things that some conservatives for a long time have been a little bit afraid to say, or,
Yeah.
like, kind of to push conservatives in a really healthy direction,
Yeah.
and to be a little bit bold, and to, I think, unite different, like, factions within the conservative movement that have been like, "Oh, we can't talk to them because we disagree on this one thing," and it's like, stop that. Let's talk about where we agree. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a
no.
fan.
I'm a fan too because he pays my so, anyway, alright, so, he signs the checks, so I'm a huge fan.
It's
No,
real.
no, I was a huge fan before that too, and again, like, I got to sit down and interview him like a year ago now, maybe?
Okay.
And, like, I was like, "Who is like, this guy's normal, like, he's cool." Like, again, like,
Yeah.
not a weird policy guy, like a normal guy who understands how the world works. Okay, I don't know what this is. What is this clip? I have a clip queued up. Why would I have read it? There we go. Jokes about Canada becoming America's 51st state.
But to say that we're in America's golden age doesn't come at the expense of anyone else, especially our friends in Canada. So whether or not you want to be the 51st state, we invite you into this.
Canada can't take a joke.
Entirely up to you. That's the point. Part of the golden age is living in national sovereignty. And so I'll close by telling you we look forward to great success.
I sent someone some jokes to send him. That was not one of them. One of the jokes I said was, "If you cheer me enough, I know a guy with a 10% coupon.
Oh,
Tickets
no,
are
no, he
21."
earlier. He did it. He said it earlier in his opening remarks.
Did he say that one?
He said it. He did.
The
No, he
10%
absolutely did.
coupon for the
He
golden
for the gold card, 100%. Yeah, he said it, like, within the first, like, 60 seconds of him talking, and then he was like, "Alright," in all seriousness, and got on to his, opening, so you did it, Tim. You've made it. You've made it. Dr. Roberts told one of your jokes on stage to thousands
No, it
of
was his joke. I didn't write. What are you talking about?
all his.
Why I don't have any. He wrote that on his own, and I didn't. I definitely didn't. Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was funny. I laughed. It's very,
Well,
very funny.
once in a
Yeah.
while,
I
I'm
mean,
funny.
he told it with his own flair and but yeah.
Someone is asking me just now. I'm doing a live with Virginia Allen. Heard he dropped the 10% joke. Awesome. God, I love dude, that guy's awesome. I'm a
He
contributor.
really is.
You know, that's what's really important is like, what's Tim doing in conservatism?
Coming up with jokes.
And
We all have our role to play.
you know, you're like the kind. Oh, can we get into something? So now that we started with Kevin Roberts, who awesome. I have a question for you because
Hmm.
again, you're a problematic woman. I'm a huge fan of that. I watched a special called "Problematic Women Cook Thanksgiving."
Yes,
Why
this was
does this
great.
turkey look so sick?
It's fine. What do you mean?
That looks like a busted turkey.
I think it's just how turkeys look when they're not, like,
I don't.
airbrushed
When they're
and
not good. When they're not good. That's how turkeys
listen,
look when they're not
it
good.
wow! It was a delicious turkey. We basted it overnight. It, like, sat in a bag of juices and spices. It was my you're seeing the hands of Kristen Eichhammer right there, my former co-host, who's now working and doing great things in the admin. But this was a big journey
That
to
is
make
hard.
this happen and a lot of work. Yes, there's
How hard
Lauren.
is it to film? I mean, because kitchens don't have a lot of space. That was a lot, right? To do that?
Yes, so our
You're adorable.
wonderful colleague Lucy let us use her apartment because I have a kitchenette in my apartment, so that
Oh,
wasn't gonna happen.
well, they need to
And
give you
then
a raise.
they're very generous, but, it's DC. So, anyway, our colleague had a very nice kitchen that worked very well for filming, and poor Tim tried to chase us around with a
Oh,
camera
Tim
for
chased me around with a
hours.
camera in Brandon Gill's office. You guys are lucky. Like that guy. You want to talk about one of the best
Oh
5
gosh.
tool superstars in the business right now in
Hardest
editing.
hardest working person on the Daily Signal team. Don't tell him I said that, but it's true.
Flip side of that, Elise McHugh just sits there. All right, so
No, Elise is
what?
amazing. Elise is also a regular on Problematic Women.
She is.
So if you wanna get on the show, you gotta say nice things about Elise.
I'm happy. I had Elise on here. She's nothing but a delight. I took her to
She's great.
lunch.
Did
I
you
so
really?
yeah, I took her to lunch because
You've never taken me to lunch, Tim.
well, you don't eat the pastries I bring you, so why would
That's
I?
also
You
fair.
you're an ungrateful human being that doesn't partake in things that I bring you. So But if you would
I
like
don't
to
need
go to
look
lunch, you don't want to be seen with me in DC. That's the tail of the tape is you don't want to be seen with me in DC. I know
Well,
that.
I wouldn't say it out loud. But,
Let's talk about actual problematic women. Here's this lady. What is her name? Olivia. Oh, sorry. That was I just made my comment. Olivia Giuliana. Have you heard about Olivia Giuliana?
yes, she has quite an analysis on where the Democrat Party needs to go. It's advice that Democrats should hold very close to their party
She
right now.
For me, something in here smells like. Do I have something new in here? I do. Something smells like rubber in here, and I know it smells like rubber in here. It's my stress s'more. It's a s'more that you can just like stretch for when you're stressed out. And I'm like, why am I having a stroke? Why do I smell like stress more? This looks like Olivia Giuliano would be interested in this. Is that real?
Oh,
You
that's
gonna
mean.
eat that?
That's mean.
If Olivia Giuliana is the person who gets the attention of men from the Democrat side, what are you like the complete opposite of that? Like you were like like again, let's talk about problematic women on the Republican side. Would you? I mean, like this is. I mean, I don't want to be shallow. I am shallow.
Hello. But I think we're picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We got more. We're getting more, by the way, as things come through. I'm getting more Kevin Roberts clips because I'm getting them sent live. But
Oh, good.
I would listen to you over her. Let's see. But she's going to go. She's got this figured out. Can I just tell
Yes.
how much you think they're paying her?
Oh
for this?
gosh.
What do you think
Oh.
she's?
I mean, they got to be dishing out quite a lot. I mean, she's like now like a spokesperson almost for them. So
They're dumping 20 million into this program to try to get
yeah,
men.
20 million.
You
Yeah,
think she's getting a mill?
I hope not. I mean, if if they're giving her $1 million,
What are we
uh,
doing?
they have been.
I'm
sold
jumping
both
ship.
ways.
I'm jumping ship. Listen, if they got 20 million to get men on that side, I'll take 2 and I'm done. Conservatism. I've spent my entire
Well,
career
because you
being
could
a
actually
conservative.
solve the problem
Oh,
for them.
I said a long time ago that if Democrats hired me, I would be able to like win elections for them. But I'm
Would
not
you
out
do
there.
it if they came to you and they were like, "Tim, come to the other side. We'll give you $2 million bucks."
You understand? Like this is the reality of things, and I don't want to break character here. But the reality of things is that I can't tell you how honored I am to be a part of the Heritage Foundation and how cool it
Aw.
is.
Yeah.
And so like I would never.
Yeah.
But
Good
the
answer.
fake side of it is,
You passed.
yeah, I'd take that money. Are you kidding me?
Passed.
Yeah, I'd take that. You pay me. I'm a sellout. That's the shtick is I'm a sellout. But on the other side, like it's whatever. Okay, so here she's gonna tell us she's wearing a CM Punk shirt. That's a pro wrestling shirt. So she knows men. By the way, his theme song is "Cult of Personality," which is one of my favorite political songs of all time. Here we go.
Well, I also think it's just so abundantly clear that the people who say these things don't actually spend time talking to young men. You know this because we know.
How much time do you think she spends talking to young men?
I mean, if she's on a college campus, maybe you could spend a little time talking to young men. I mean, I don't want to say anything mean, but I will say, I mean, just all of this feels like it should be like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yes.
It's like, okay, we hired a young woman to try and attract young men. And she's like, I've hung out with them a lot, so I get them. Like, okay, like I
With
hang
young
out
men,
with my parents a lot. Does that mean I need to start like, being the voice for people over the age of 50? Like, I mean, what?
what do you think? Let's just finish this clip. I got 10
Yeah.
seconds in. Sorry.
Each other in real life, but I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and I spend
He
a lot of time
loves
with
young men.
I love young men. I
We're not finished the clip yet. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. I needed to pause. What is
Yeah, it's a good clip though.
this kid? This kid he's making a ton of money. Here we
I
go.
love frat guys. And in that, I realized, like, even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice.
No, they aren't.
They're almost always pro-gay marriage.
No, they
You'd
aren't.
be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter.
No, they didn't.
And so I feel like people just
Supported
kind of
those
lump them into
bastards.
this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
I'm going to give her a lot of credit right now because she went in. Let me tell you something. This was her pitch. And she went into the DNC, which, by the way, she got access to because everybody made fun of her for like, what was that quote she said at the DNC about like eating the whole thing or something like that. And like they like people
Oh,
like,
yeah.
remember?
Was like, yeah, and then like said that she ate
And
the
then-
menu too, or yeah.
Yeah. So she had a window, right? Because she was just a normal person on the floor of the DNC. She had a window. She went into the DNC. People were like, we're so bad. We're so sorry that the conservatives are out there, turning into a meme. And she went in and she said this garbage to people. I'm on campus all the time. And let me tell you something. They're all the frat guys are pro-choice and they're all Black Lives Matter and blah, it's like the most crazy stuff.
Yep.
And somebody's like, we've got a young person. We got a young person here that's like, she's telling the truth.
Well, I think she probably really believes it. Like deep down, she probably really thinks we just have to double down. Like we just have to go further. We just have to go harder.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, Democrats like, okay, listen, just follow that path. And it'll work out real well for conservatives. I mean, really, like more of this, and the libs are handing conservatives the midterm elections on a silver platter.
We have to wait for Congress to do something, like maybe codify the Doge, the Doge cuts, and things. Maybe like if Congress spent some time working, that would be really cool. That might help out a little bit. Yeah, she. Really
I know
is.
you don't like members of Congress. It's fine.
So today somebody calls me. I don't need to see her face anymore. Hold on, let me get this down. Today somebody calls me and they go, "What? Who are the good members of Congress? Who are the good members of Congress, Tim?" And I go, they're like, is there like 80%, 70%? I was like, I don't want to talk about it. They're like, but you say there are some good members of Congress. I was like, yeah, I will not. I will say the names of some of them that are consistent policy wise. But for the most part, I keep it generic because I still want people to like do shows with me.
Yeah.
And not think I'm going to like stomp them out. But there are people I like Brandon Gill, but there are some people I have lined up to be in their office that I think are ridiculous and insane. And I'm very excited to do those interviews. There are people in Congress. Now you reported. Do they recognize you when you walk through the halls?
No, like, gosh, there's probably like 3 members of Congress that would recognize me. I know some of the staff, but no, I am not very, very well known among them. But I have found that they're always very kind. People are respectful. So even if they're like, who is this girl knocking on my door that I now have to give 20 minutes of my time to? They're always.
I show up even when I show up for like things where like people. So like the member knows me, the staff may not. The young staff. I actually showed up the other day, and I'll just say this: Anna Polina's office, right?
Yeah.
And I know the chief; he's a good friend of mine. And I go, "Hey, is Bill in?" And they go, "No, he's not in." I go, "All right." I was like, "Is David in?" That's her comms guy. David in? No. Okay, well, I'll just text him on the way out. We're friends. It's whatever. I guess they're not here. And the guy goes, hold on. And he picks up the phone. Pretend this is the landline. And he goes, hey, what's your name? I said, Tim Young. And the chief came out right away. Bill. He's like, sorry about that. I was like, this fucker lied. Like, he just lied to me. Like, what is that?
Well, that's also like their job to be gatekeepers. I mean, because, so-and-so from their state who happens to, be chaperoning their kid's field trip is in town and, wants to talk someone's ear off for 30 minutes about, whatever. So yeah. I respect that. They got to protect people's time.
Well, Anna, whatever, however you want to pronounce it this day. She apparently I was one of the only people who was yelling about her saying that they needed proxy voting and was respectful about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else was making comments about her wearing bikinis and stuff like that. And I'm like, why would you ever do that? Like, who cares? She can do whatever she wants. I don't care about that. But yeah. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Let's talk about your stories because your stories are actually, hold on. We have an update.
Okay.
This is Kevin Roberts. Here.
Kevin Roberts. Let's see the latest.
Let's see. This is from
He's holding it down.
Crystal Kate. Are you
My
familiar?
friend, in a
So here we go. What is this? Can America have a golden age without tariffs? All right.
Oh, this is a good one.
So let me come to you first on the news of the last 24 hours, which is that your premier court for trade has ruled virtually all the Trump tariffs.
What the hell is a premier court for trade? Does this guy not understand how America works?
Well, he's in Canada.
Your premier court for trade.
Illegal. Can you have a golden age in America without tariffs?
Let me add, my friend, an update which you may have been not privy to because you were preparing for this, which is that thank goodness
Not privy to because you didn't watch the news. Because guess what?
a court with greater sense overturned that decision.
To be appealed again.
Listen to that crowd boo.
Listen to the crowd.
We don't want your crappy Canadian whiskey. What else do they have? Maple syrup? We don't care.
Well, Tim, they took a poll at the beginning. So they asked the audience at the very beginning, how many of you essentially are, where do you stand? Are you in the belief that we are kind of in this golden age of America or not? And only 15% are like, yeah, that's like a golden age of America. So, I mean, Dr. Roberts here is starting with already 85% of the crowd being like, we're really not that interested in what you have to say.
Well, it's Canada. Yeah, no, it's Canada. And I have to watch this later because why would I have watched the product beforehand? And then God bless me, and I will catch up. I'll catch up. Hey, look, made a joke.
Full
Okay.
faith.
I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm there.
Great.
I just feel like I'm there. I forget where I was going with this. It doesn't matter.
I don't
'cause you
know.
just started making- I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm just watching the clips as they come through. So it's
Well,
fresh.
no, I mean, it's literally live right now. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're competing against it because I'm a terrible person. All right, here we go. Rest of this clip.
No doubt, but important to have the conversation, and it will go to the U.S. Supreme Court. I assume that as part of the civil discourse, we want facts to be part of the conversation.
Let's do it.
Just making sure.
Hold on. See, this is why I like this guy.
Yep.
This is my guy
But
right
he delivers it with it's not aggressive. It's like it's kind and it's playful and it's brilliant.
here. Yeah, again. We just want facts to be here. And he knows it. Like it's so good. Did you see, by the way, when I think it was Harry Sisson was on with him on Piers Morgan? This is turning into the this is the Kevin Roberts fan stream. When he was on and Piers Morgan was like, "You've got one of the guys who wrote Project 2025 here. You got anything for him?" And he was like stuck, like he had nothing to say. Because again, all the left like screamed about it.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
And then like he's like, "Hey, you got one of the guys here who's in charge of it. What do you got?" And they had nothing.
It's no surprise. Because I mean, all they want to do is be able to rant about it. They don't actually want to have an intelligent conversation about it.
Or actually read it like they tell everybody to read. Here we go.
Can the golden age include tariffs? As we've argued at Heritage, my economist colleagues are no doubt writing about it as we sit here.
New chief economist, E.J. Antoni. He's a regular on the show.
He's awesome.
What we prefer is a reciprocal tariff system that dishonors the great violators of free trade. The European Union is one of the great violators of that. To recognize that as an objective fact doesn't mean that Kellyanne and I dislike the European Union or any of the countries who are the violators. We do dislike some of those countries, like the Chinese Communist Party or that entity. Therefore, if it's that, plus we take the 10% reciprocal tariff and we convert that to a border adjustment tax, something Canadians are very familiar with, then our Heritage economists are very optimistic about that. And I think because we're 4 months into this term, and only 6 weeks into this tariff regime, that by the time we get to the end of the third economic quarter, the administration will have succeeded in landing that plane. I understand, to sum up here, the uncertainty, the lack of clarity, even the frustration from friends in Canada. But sort of to Kellyanne's point about the optimism and also knowing the men and women who are in charge of resolving this tariff or trade conflict, we're very optimistic.
I have a question for you. Is that Elise McHugh?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't look like her. Totally different.
Just looks exactly like her.
Does not look like her.
Just
they
like
both have dark hair. That's it, Tim. They both have dark hair.
Okay. All right. Here's your story because you're a real reporter. Good talks with Iran, but not without skepticism. Are we going to disarm Iran? Are they going to get rid of their nuclear armament?
Well, they say they won't, and I believe them. I think when people that have been seeking a nuclear weapon for years say, "Yeah, we don't want to give up our enriched uranium. There's no way we're doing that." Uh, you should probably believe them. So, obviously, negotiations are ongoing. Steve Witkoff, Trump's liaison in the Middle East, you know, these talks are still going, but I think increasingly folks that follow these issues very closely, I think, are thinking just with the way this has been playing out, we might be looking at essentially option two, which, as Trump says, no one wants that because option two involves violence and carrying out a strike on Iran nuclear sites. But so the kind of the big tension here, and the reason why so many people have been saying we got to see these negotiations all the way through, we don't want to do a strike, is because everyone's scared you strike Iran and then we're into World War III. But as Victoria Coates, brilliant at the Heritage Foundation, points
Again,
out,
yes.
yeah, there've been strikes before that are limited, specific, targeted, and like no one wants World War III. So just because you do a very targeted strike that totally dismantles Iran's ability to create a nuclear weapon anytime in the near future, that doesn't mean that you automatically are entering war. Is there risk? Yeah, there's 100% risk. At the same time, the longer these negotiations go on, the more that's in Iran's favor because every single day that they have to keep enriching uranium. I mean, in talking to Rob Greenway, another expert at the Heritage Foundation, he was like, I mean, they're pretty much, we know they're pretty much at the point where they can test anytime. And once a nation tests a nuclear weapon, they are considered a nuclear power. And
Right.
then all the conversations change. There's a whole new ball game at that point. And Trump's been really, really clear. We cannot allow that to happen, but we kind of are playing with fire as far as the timeline here. It's very, very risky to just let these negotiations go indefinitely.
Yeah, when Trump took office, did Iran like speed up what they could do, or like when he won the election, were they like, oh crap, we better hurry up and get some more done? Do you know how that works? Like, I mean, what?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure, but I would have to imagine that that's the case. But I know with enriching uranium, the little I know about it, kind of getting like the first like 20-30%. Once I think you kind of get past that like 60% threshold, it's very fast. Like things start moving really, really quickly. And they've moved into that point where like they're getting they're past 60%. They're enriching very, very, very quickly. Uh, and of course, Israel has a lot of stakes in this. They're pretty interested as to what happens here. And the question that I recently asked and talked to some experts
See
for,
what I
thanks
did
for
there?
pulling up that
What I
piece.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you're on it. I appreciate that. But it's like, okay, if Israel just wanted to do this solo, if the US was like, hey, we're kind of going to look the other way, you go for it, you take out their nuclear sites. Well, Israel doesn't actually have the weaponry to do this. The US is the
Really?
only one. Yeah. So they could do damage. But some of Iran's nuclear sites are located at least 150 meters underground.
Oh,
And you need what is commonly referred to as the mother of all bombs that the US has and Israel does not in order to penetrate. And even that bomb is like not 100% guaranteed that it would completely take it out, those nuclear sites that are located that far down, but it would definitely do enough damage that like it'd be pretty much useless for a very, very long period of time. So like Israel could strike and block entrances and stuff like that maybe would take them a couple months to clear out the debris and get it operational again, but it wouldn't totally derail their nuclear program. So that's where it requires cooperation from the US. Now, Israel could do a strike and, throw some cold water on their progress, but when it comes to actually solving the problem, the US has to be involved.
gotcha. I how did can I just you went to school for journalism? Like, could you have ever imagined you'd be like reporting on this stuff? Isn't this wild?
It's wild, but also, like, I didn't go to school for journalism. I was a
Yeah,
political science major.
oh, well,
I
it's
never
like,
took
yeah, it's like a functional political science.
well, yeah, I should have taken one journalism class in college. I didn't take one. That was
I didn't
bad
miss
decision. But I
anything.
never intended to be a journalist. And no, it's wild. The doors that open. It's a fun field to be in. I'm very, very blessed.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
wild. It's
I
very cool.
actually was a Supreme Court reporter for 6
Were
or
you
7 months.
really?
Yeah, I've
I
done it.
didn't know that.
Man, I have a very legitimate resume somewhere in the middle of the pile of goofy stuff that I've done.
Reporting on the Supreme Court is like it's another language. You really have to learn the technicalities
There's a
of
dress code too.
that whole world.
You know there's a dress code?
Um, there's a dress code in the Supreme Court. Like
Yeah.
do you have to wear a suit and tie?
Yes. You have to wear a jacket and a tie. And the first day I
Oh.
showed up, I actually was wearing a button-down shirt and a jacket. It was neato me. And they made me go to the gift shop. And I gave it to my dad. I should have saved it actually. I gave it to my dad though years ago, but like I had to buy a tie and all they had were like these goofy, like tourist, like American flag, eagle, Constitution ties in the gift shop. They made me buy a tie at the gift shop.
I'm just surprised that you showed up to work at the Supreme Court without a tie. How old were you?
28.
Okay.
But like
You
I
were
was out of
young.
law school. No, maybe 26. I was out of law school
Okay.
and I was
Where did
working
you go to law school?
Baltimore. So nothing fancy.
Okay.
But then I also almost got a doctorate in public policy too. So I have
Wow.
I dropped out with one course and a dissertation left. I'm a little smarter than I. This is when you look at the get up and why I wear the get up, and you understand the middle finger I'm giving a lot of DC. Like you realize, like I've been in this game for a long time, lady.
You've been around the block.
Been around the
What are you
block.
talking
When you were 11, I had my first internship on the Hill. I believe it was about the same time that you were busy in
That's
middle school, and I was working for
fair.
16 years.
Fair.
And then for some reason I actually I was talking about this the other day, and then I won't talk about myself anymore. But like I realized the other day that I think I was one of the first people to ever use a social media site for a campaign.
Oh wow.
Like period. Like period.
Wow. You were on the cutting edge.
In 2006, I ran a local campaign for a guy who was a former pro wrestler. He's running for State House
Yeah.
in Maryland. And in 2006, I made a MySpace page for him for his campaign. This is this is back when I believe if Facebook was around. I remember I was on Facebook when you had to sign up for it. You had to be going to college.
You had to be in college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And somebody introduced me to it, and I was like, why do I need this? I have a MySpace.
Like if you had only known.
If I had only,
known.
yeah, literally, like, but I was kind of a first mover on a lot of weird stuff with that, and like then there was a few other things I've done. There are a lot of memes that I've created that like are pretty legacy memes. Like the other day, Sean Davis shared the meme of the guy who got shot in the groin with a pepper ball.
Oh.
Did you ever see that? The protester
Yeah,
got shot.
yeah.
And I was the one who originally put the "My Heart Will Go On" behind it and timed it out when he got shot. And like that has gone viral. So I think it's probably been seen probably like 500 million times now. And like I don't need credit for it, but I was like, I did that. That was me.
It's such a bizarre world that we live in. Like it's so awesome, and yet isn't it wild? Like those are also like kind of our claim to fames. Like we live in a wild world.
Well, my claim to fame is being famous. But also on top of that, like there was stuff like one time I had okay, so like let's talk about this. Like what have you ever done something that unintentionally made you go viral?
I don't think I've ever really gone viral.
Really?
I mean, like I've had some videos that like I was holding a microphone and like back and forth that like got a ton of views. My
Yeah.
interview with Tucker Carlson went viral, but that was because it was Tucker Carlson. I just asked the questions. So
And you were very complimentary to me after that. You were like, you and him think the same. Except I still think Iran is a threat, and apparently he does not. He tweeted about that a couple of weeks ago. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, Iran is definitely a threat. Yeah, I agree with Tucker on a lot, not everything. That's okay.
I once tweeted that I think it was it Macron or was it Trudeau? Looked like he had fake eyebrows, and it looked like his eyebrow was falling off. And I tweeted it one morning when I was getting on Red Line in DC, the subway for those of you playing along at home. And by the time I got off the train, it had 13,000 likes. And by the end of the day, there were like 40 articles internationally written about how he actually does have real eyebrows.
That is hysterical.
That was like that was one of my favorite ones.
That's good. That's really good. Wow. The
What
things
is this?
people will weigh in on.
Does Virginia have any updates on the $2 billion worth of microwave given to Stacey Abrams?
Sorry, Dylan.
I
can't.
have one of Stacey Abrams' sex books that she wrote over there, one of her smut
Oh
books.
boy.
Because,
Oh,
she
boy.
wrote as, what was her name? Stephanie something? She wrote, like, smut books before she ran for
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
That
man.
somehow it does not surprise me.
Hold on. This is
Yikes.
for everybody who's playing along at home here, and for you, because I like saying weird things to you. So she went by, and I have one of the original copies of it, Selena Montgomery.
Okay.
She wrote The Rules of Engagement, The Art of Desire, Power of Persuasion, Secrets and Lies, Hidden Sins, Reckless, Deception, and Never Tell. And they're all like these smut books.
Wow.
I
That
have,
is so wild.
and I
And then went on to have a career in politics, if you can call it that.
I was given them by, I believe, the former head of the NRSC. They were like, "Hey, do you want something for a viral video?" And I go, "What do you?" And they're like, "We have Selena Montgomery's books." I was like, "Who's Selena Montgomery?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Stacey Abrams." And like her photos in them. Like she can't deny it. It's like it says Selena Montgomery and it's got her picture.
That is
I wish
so
I had that handy.
wild.
I should put that.
Why did she write under a pen name?
Maybe she had political aspirations. Again, like where do these people come from that are in politics and get elevated to this level?
Yeah.
Like what
Yeah.
a weird.
It's a weird world. It's a
Hey,
really
that's a
weird
segue,
world.
isn't it? Because we've got this one. This is a fun clip that got released today. Have you seen the clip of David Hogg saying that Nancy Pelosi's corrupt?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Let's watch a little bit of this.
I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you? Is it easy to get people to go on like these dates where like you have a camera on them?
I've wondered that. Like, how on earth do they trust whoever they're sitting down with to just be like, and another thing? I have no idea how these people do this and build the trust to where they'll literally just divulge all the secrets. and say
Literally,
exactly
like
what
they're
they think.
sitting there, right? And then, James O'Keefe is good at this because he shows up. He does these gay dates all the time. This James O'Keefe, he's always out with a man, and he gets them. But you can blow that off. I just couldn't imagine, like, if you were out with somebody, say you're a top secret person. I got my little hair there is coming out the side. You're out with a person on a date. You don't date, but if you did, you'd be out.
Wow, that feels like a job.
I don't either.
I go on dates.
Good. That's
Me
nice.
too.
Good for you.
Okay. Appreciate it.
I don't, but I'm very sad. So you're out, right? You're out hanging out with these people. You're eating your cheesesteak sub, and because that's what you get on date, meatball subs,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
sitting around eating your
course.
meatball sub, and then they're like, "Hey, by the way, can you tell us a couple of secrets about?" Because like it's like blatant when they get these people to say it. Like it's always very blatant.
It is, and often highly specific. I'm like, are they like 5 drinks in, or do they has this person that they're speaking with like built a relationship over months and now finally like they're asking those questions? It's very, very bizarre to me. Because I like as a journalist, for one, and I think if you live in DC, you get
yeah.
so in your head
Oh, yeah.
about what I say and who I say it to. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're trained, I feel like, from the moment you arrive in Washington, DC, of like, be really careful about what you say and who you say it to.
What's interesting, for a time, I dated the one of Bernie Sanders' top advisors, who was actually John
Did you
Podesta's number 2.
really?
Mm-hmm. We dated for like a little over a year, and
Was she a socialist?
yeah, that ended up kind of ending it. So like we agreed on, we were kind of like we had a real populist thing going on where we kind of met in the middle on the problems with the country, right? The solution portion of the program really kind of divided us. There was a lot of
You saw you both saw the problems.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Well, see, this is where I say this all the time. I mean, really, there's a lot of agreement among both sides of the aisle over this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. It's just the solutions that we're totally different on.
Also, I think she was anti-abortion back in the day. Like, I think she was like, it was really weird because there was a lot of like weird conservative stuff that she was on the same page with.
Huh.
And then it just kind of, yeah. And then, so I learned back in the day, and I'll say this publicly, and people can get on me either way. Because Podesta was implicated in all that Pizzagate nonsense a couple of years ago with everybody saying everybody's, children and stuff like that. And she goes, when he would talk about pizza, do you know what that was? And I'm like, what? She's like, he was going to drink in the middle of the day with his buddies at like the bar that was like happened to have pizza, like the pizza place, Comet Pizza. They have a nice bar, hook up there. So they would go, they're like, you want to go get pizza? And like all these conspiracy theorists were like, it's kids. And she's like, no, he was drinking.
They're just drinking.
They're just
Having
drinking.
pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't want it on the record for like anybody who may ever see it. But yeah, no, it was just anyway, enough of that. All right, what else we got here? Let's go through a couple other. Oh God, that's still that woman pulls up on my thing. This
I
is
don't think we
interesting.
ever finished that video. Anyway,
Yeah, I didn't need to. I think we were finished with it as soon as it started,
pretty much.
and that's what really where it is. It's sort of like a conversation on problematic women. You guys, the other day I watched a clip, and it was Elise McHugh telling the problematic women, and please just tell me the relevance of this. I don't want to be off here. Maybe I just don't understand the problematic women. You guys were talking about fashion, which is just like Chinese to me. Like you might as well just be speaking Mandarin. And she said, and she was sitting next to you, and you had like a cape on. I called you the Don because you looked like you were the Don of this whole thing. She said that someone once asked her from an a cappella group. It was very specific. She was at a bar. There was an a cappella group. I don't know what a cappella group sings at a bar. That asked her if she was a lesbian because she had Doc Martens on.
Mm-hmm. I remember this.
And then you guys just glanced over it. It was like, oh, okay. See, I would have had a lot of follow-ups. Because again, like, what bar are you at where you're just, I don't.
Well, you should come on Problematic Women, and then you can ask Elise all those questions in person and find out what she's doing at bars wearing Doc Martens.
I have Doc Martens. Maybe I'll wear my Doc Martens. And then I'll say, why haven't you asked me if I'm a lesbian?
We could all wear Doc Martens.
Do you own Doc Martens? You do not own Doc Martens.
I don't own Doc Martens.
So I worked down the street there's a Doc Marten store in Georgetown.
Okay.
And I worked down the street from there for a little bit. And they had a very limited edition American flag Doc Marten.
Ooh.
And so I own those. They're worth
Very
a gazillion
cool.
dollars. But yeah, so I do have Doc Martens and they do look like lesbian shoes. I have been to this part of Panama. This is old Panama, isn't it?
Oh yeah. All right,
Gorgeous.
we're going back. Look at my face in that.
I froze that there in particular.
Yeah.
You look pained. Now, was this free trip to Panama that stressful?
I give Tim Kennedy, the other Tim on our team, such a hard time because like every time he clips a video, he ensures that my face is in a horrible position.
I paused it there, actually, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was the very beginning. That's 8 seconds.
See this? Yeah. So this is the fault of
Like,
both Tims. But fine.
I'm in a beautiful part of the world. I'm so
angry right now.
Yeah, I'm so wow.
So I'm talking to Chuck Holton. He does some contributing for Newsmax, for CBN. He's fantastic. He lives in Panama, war correspondent, brilliant guy. He parachuted into Panama when they overthrew the dictator there back in the late 80s. Really, really cool guy. But anyway, we had a great conversation about the influence of China in Panama, where the risks are, the Panama Canal. Yeah, this was about 6 weeks ago that I was in Panama.
One of the oldest Catholic churches in the world is there. Am I right?
Oh,
One of the oldest, maybe the oldest in like in the Americas. I think because obviously
that would not
churches in.
Yeah, well, because I mean, Panama, it's interesting. Like it's like South Central America, but it feels it's probably the most Americanized, I would say, probably among like South Central American countries, in part because of the Panama Canal. And America's involvement in building the canal has just brought a lot of kind of that Western influence into the country and the feel. It's like there's areas that you look and it's like, oh, it's still a lot of poverty, buildings falling down, but then a lot of it is very, very nice. They use US dollars. If you're going to go to a South or Central American country as an American tourist, Panama is pretty easy to navigate. The driving is crazy. The driving scared me.
I have driven there. I was actually
Wow.
there. I worked with some folks to help win an election there because, because my resume is stupid.
You do?
And that's what sometimes you need help. You need a couple of bucks, and somebody's like, "Hey, you want to come down here and help win an election?" And then you do.
There
And
you
so I
go.
got to go to an inauguration, and yeah,
That's cool.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. There I am. I have some questions for you, so I'm gonna just pull this up because this is the best one I can do right now. So I want to talk about your. I'm gonna just pull out a notepad here. So
Okay.
who are the co-hosts? So there's you, right, Virginia?
Yeah. So
Hmm.
on this show, what you have pulled up here, sitting next to me
Yeah.
is your good friend, Elise McHugh.
Like her.
Crystal Bonham
Yeah.
is
Love her.
the lovely young woman sitting in the like yellow dress.
Mhm.
And then in the pink blazer, Elizabeth Mitchell is the Daily Signal's White House correspondent. So she comes on the show once in a blue moon because she's usually at the White House.
I don't like her because
Wow. How
she-
everyone loves Elizabeth.
no.
Everyone
She sat
loves
next to
Elizabeth.
me. So she sat next to me at an event with JD Vance, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And she was kind of sweaty the whole time. And I go, "Why are you sweating?" And afterwards, she says, "I was really sick, and I struggled through that." And I go, "I'm sorry. You were sick, and then you sat next to me."
I mean, you have a job to do. I've 100% done it before. Like, I got to report on this thing. Here we are.
But not next to me. You don't have to sit next to me.
Well,
I wore a
maybe.
different sweater, but not a hoodie to that event, by the way. I dressed up. Okay. And then you have Morgan McMichael. So it's Virginia, Elise, Crystal, Elizabeth, and Morgan.
All of us are on regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. Rank these people
I
in
can't
order
do that.
of best to worst host.
Oh, absolutely not. That's so mean. They are all fantastic hosts. And so this is what I'll say. They each bring something really, really unique. So Crystal knows policy issues inside and out because she works with Kevin Roberts,
I think Crystal's my
president of the
favorite
Heritage
one.
Foundation. And so Crystal is can break down, I mean, her bread and butter is education issues, but she can break down so many policy issues because she's constantly in the weeds of them because, she's helping Dr. Roberts prep for segments and whatnot and going on various news outlets. Elise is a master of pop culture. And she's also, because she runs the Daily Signal social media account, she just lives on what is happening on X. And so there's so many times that she flags stuff for me. It's like, hey, did you see this? And it's the most bizarre, crazy things, like the video of the woman who's now advising the DNC on how to get all the men. Elise flagged that for me.
What a
Go Elise. What a champ. What a champ. And then Morgan McMichael, she's just a superstar, been working with Turning Point USA. She has a fantastic following. She's younger than me, so she's, getting all the use, but so articulate. And I think has just a great perspective as a young.
She used to hand out
recent.
the constitutions on videos with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so tons of camera experience. She's brilliant, but also so kind. Of course, Elizabeth, all the White House experience. Hillsdale grad. Shout out to Hillsdale. They're all great.
I ranked them. So while you did
Okay.
that. So that's my list.
Well, how would you rank them? Okay. All right. Crystal. Wow, you have me at the bottom. But at least I'm number 5, which is my favorite number. So I'm gonna still claim that as a win.
Disgusting. We have a new clip, and then we'll get out of here. We have a new clip from the debate. Now, here we go. Ezra Klein admits that Donald Trump is right that Europe needs to spend more on defense. Oh boy. I don't think it's going well for the liberals. I'm going to go out here on a limb based on this lady's reaction back there. Not going well. Here we go.
How can America continue to shoulder this global burden of security, not just for Canada, but for Europe, for Asia, for all around the world? Isn't it time to have a reset in terms of the relationship? And isn't Donald Trump bringing that reset to the table?
I think this is absolutely half right. Donald Trump is right, as many people have been saying this for a long time, are right, that Europe needs to spend more on defense. And if Trump alienating Europe revitalizes Europe and gets them to act with a little bit more vigor again, cut their own regulations, recognize they can't just sit under an American umbrella, that actually would be good for everybody, possibly except us, but possibly us too. Not everything Trump does, not everything JD Vance says is wrong.
Wow.
Wow.
Could you
Yeah.
have never guessed that? I mean, that's wild.
That is, I mean, to be on a debate stage and openly say that, I respect that guy for being willing to admit that, because I mean, he's right. Europe needs to step up. Canada needs to step up. I mean, Canada wants to have the protections of the Golden Dome, of course, but they need to help pay for it in that case if they want that
I mean,
coverage.
I don't. So for me, like, to go back to the tariff thing, for me, it just makes logical sense that if somebody's charging us like 35% to
Oh, yeah.
import something, we should charge. Like, why is this such a controversial topic for anybody? Like, why can't we be on equal footing with other countries? Why aren't we? Why haven't we been on equal footing with other countries?
I mean, it's been almost like there's a higher standard for like the firstborn child. I feel like it's been that mentality of like, oh no, but like America, you guys can just do it because you
Yeah.
have the money and the resources. And it's been that mindset that has gotten us in so much trouble for so long. And just like, okay, we'll pick up the tab because we're the responsible older child. It's like, no, like, we have to stop doing that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Before we get out of here, we have a couple of minutes, and I want to make sure we hit 10,000 up in the little ticker there. We're getting real close. What's your favorite interview you've ever done?
So interviews, I feel like you divide them in two of like, you have your big names, and those are fun because like this is such an honor and so cool to be talking to these people. So like, awesome
You're
to
welcome.
talk to, this right here, right now,
Mm.
Dan.
Yeah.
But in addition to this conversation right here, a real privilege, obviously, Tucker Carlson, really need to talk to him. Ben Carson was I've interviewed him a couple times, and he is just a pleasure and a delight to talk to because he is consistent. Like, you get what you get with Ben Carson. He's so quiet. Like, he
Yeah.
comes and sits down, and you're almost like leaning in to hear him because he's so soft spoken and quiet. He is just such a gentleman. That was a great one. I did one during COVID, with all the craziness that was happening after George Floyd and all this stuff. There's these really neat guys, Will Ford, and I'm forgetting the other gentleman's name. It'll come to me. Matt Lockett, Will Ford and Matt Lockett. They have this wild, crazy story. They've been trying to make a movie out of it. I don't know if it's happening. They wrote a book together. Anyway, Will Ford is a Black gentleman. Matt Lockett is a white gentleman. Long story short, they were friends for 10 years before they found out that Matt Lockett's family owned Will Ford's family as slaves way back in the 1800s. Crazy story. They're best friends. They travel around and tell their story of like racial reconciliation. They both love Jesus. Awesome people. That was just because they tell the story so well. That was a really fun interview.
Did you ask if like he pays for everything now, or?
Oh my
you know?
gosh. See,
That's
he
the
just
obvious
hasn't-
question, right?
I mean, I don't feel like that's the obvious question, but
It is the obvious. No, it is the obvious question. So you pay for everything when you guys go out, right? This is why I get these. You're a nice
as like,
person. That's why. It's instant. Like, you gotta. Oh, Virginia, you're just a kind soul. Oh,
I will take that. I
yeah,
like
you're
being a
just
kind person.
plants. What are the? Have you read the books behind you? What are those books? Have you ever read them?
No, these are just decoration.
What are they? What
I have
kind of?
not
What
read
are
these.
they?
It's just decoration.
I did this to West Hunt, by the way.
Let's see. The ethics of power, the integrity of religion, and philosophy and politics. Anyway,
I have a Project
yeah.
2025. Have you read that one?
I have read some of it. I definitely
I
have
read it
not
cover to
read
cover.
all of it,
Ask
to be
me.
very honest.
Ask me
You
anything
read
about
it
it.
cover to cover?
Ask me any question.
Wow. What's your favorite section? Favorite
the
section?
one
The whole
about
thing.
economy. At EJ Antonio.
Oh, really?
Mm,
That EJ wrote?
Mhm.
Oh.
never read it.
See, EJ
He did
is no. Well, I'll give credit to EJ. He's very good at taking very wonky, complex economic stuff
He's the
and
let me
putting
tell
it
you
in
something.
layman's terms.
He's the only
Really
economist I've
appreciate it.
ever listened to. Because I've been in radio. I did radio for 6.5 years, and I don't know how many people I interviewed, economists and stuff, because they used to give me the boring guys because I would be able to like spice up the interviews. And he's the only economist I've ever enjoyed talking to, ever. And he's a
Really?
cool guy. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah, and is, like, always in, like, a five-piece
No, he's
suit.
not.
Um,
I stayed
not
with him
always?
last week when I was in town, and I saw him in a hoodie.
I didn't even know EJ owns a hoodie. That's shocking.
Because again,
I'm gonna give
in
him
the
a hard
world
time
where
about this
I
when I
say
see him.
like
Let me down.
did the guy pay for the other thing, whatever, the slave thing. I told him, I was like, we both have costumes. And I was like, your costume's the 3-piece with the timepieces. My costume's a hoodie and a hat. I kind of like mine. Let me tell you something. He's a genius. He really is a genius. And he's got
He
a
is,
really cool
absolutely is.
dog. He's got a
I
massive
didn't know he had a dog.
Great Dane called Phantom, who's the
Aw, I
sweetest
love Great
dog, like the
Danes.
sweetest dog.
Oh, my sister and her husband had a Great Dane, and he passed away last year, and it was the saddest
They really
thing.
are.
They're just the best dogs. They have no
Mhm.
idea how big they are. They sit in your lap. They're
Yep.
so sweet.
Love that
They're
dog.
great dogs.
And then I introduced him to Ethiopian food because apparently people in DC don't realize that Ethiopian food is that's the only place to get Ethiopian food in America. Really is DC. Good stuff.
DC has great Ethiopian food.
Really?
I love Ethiopian food. I should eat it more. Well, so I don't know if you knew that. I lived in Africa for a year, not in Ethiopia, but was friends with some Ethiopians, and so I ate. They made us
What did
Ethiopian food when I lived
What
in
did you do in
Africa. So
Africa?
I was a missionary
Get
for a
out.
year after college
That's
in
cool.
South Africa. Yeah,
What made you want to do that?
yeah, yeah.
God.
It was just something that I felt like the Lord was calling me to do, and it was an awesome experience.
That's
Learned a
incredible.
ton about myself, other cultures. I always tell young people, like, just do it. It's like the perfect time after college
That's why I
to
really
take time
respect
off and
Mormons, by the
go
way.
experience
Like
that culture.
not only because they're the best preppers in the world too, and they're ready to go. If the world ends, they're going to take over. But also, they all their kids go on missionary trips, and so like that's such a heavy
Yeah.
lift. 2 years for kids. Like one of my colleagues in law school, who's a great attorney in Houston now, he did Brazil for 2 years. And yeah, and because he
Oh,
spoke
wow.
Portuguese, because of course he spoke Portuguese when he was. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. My buddy paused, like, what? Speaks Portuguese?
That's so cool. But, like, it's such a good experience. And, like, I feel like it should be semi-required for all young people. Like, just go to another culture, immerse yourself. Like, especially as an American, because we grow up hearing, "You're so blessed to be an American." And, like, yeah, I get that, but you really don't understand what that means until you go live in a country where when call their law enforcement, you have no idea if they're gonna come and if they'll require a bribe before they will do anything
So I
for
bribed
you.
my way out
Oh.
of a speeding ticket when I was in Panama. Thanks for asking. $20.
Wow.
$20.
Okay.
Only $20.
Only $20. Well, it's probably a lot less
Yeah,
than what the ticket
yeah.
would have
God
been.
knows what
So,
I didn't want to have to go to any kind of embassy to get out of a ticket or whatever I was going to do there. All right. Hey,
yeah.
have you been to Dama? Have you done Dama up by the Air Force Memorial?
I have
No?
not.
They
Okay.
have a
We
lunch
gotta go.
buffet there actually, and during Lent, because do you know the Ethiopian culture? Like they do like no animal products whatsoever, no like animal fats during Lent. Yeah.
Oh, during Lent?
So during
I
Lent,
did not
they
know that.
double the size of the buffet and they don't raise the price, and it's like all these like crazy vegan things that they make, and like all these really good vegetables and lentils and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yum.
Would you
That's
have
amazing.
expected that I was an
Yeah.
expert on
Oof.
Ethiopian food?
I would never have guessed that. Of all of the
All the food groups
groups,
and
I
on
would
that
not
food
guess
pyramid.
Ethiopian.
You probably would have thought hamburgers, but no, Ethiopian.
Ethiopian. I think I would have guessed like steaks. You would have been a
Korean
really well versed in
Korean
the
food.
finest
I love Korean
steaks.
food. I can do Korean food all day long, and then but Ethiopian in
Okay.
particular. I literally take an Uber out to Dama. It's like a $20 Uber from Heritage when I come into town to go to lunch to do their lunch buffet for like $17 and then come back in.
We should take the entire
They
daily
would be
signal team.
disgusted.
We should just
Like we could,
all go.
but like they would be so like just and record them.
That's content. Golden. We could film the show there.
They would probably let us do it. They're all really conservative there, except they do have a picture on the bakery side of Obama that looks like he's a saint. And so because he hired them to make cakes. So when they started with just a vegan bakery, and he hired them to make cakes for the White House or something at one point, and that's what got their name made. And then they started doing the food, the Ethiopian food afterwards.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's actually
Mhm.
really cool.
I know the whole thing because I was going to do a special on them. So I used to do a segment for Fox 5 in DC called Take Tim to Work, and I was going to do a special on them and actually go hang out in the kitchen.
You've lived like 5, 7, 10 lives, Tim. I feel like every other sentence you're like, and
I
2
have,
years ago, I was, swimming with sharks
I mean,
off the
like
coast
my
of
very first
whatever.
interview when I got to sit down with like interviews and like with cool people back in the day in college and undergrad. I loved Cal Ripken. I've got my Orioles hat on tonight, but I have a million hats of every team. And they were like, "Who wants to go to the Maryland Film Festival and interview this Cal Ripken guy?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And so he signed like all sorts of baseballs and stuff for me, and I got to sit down and talk to him about his final season that they were debuting or premiering a documentary of his final season. And so I sat directly next to him and talked to him throughout the entire movie, and he was telling me stories about his final season. Like that was like you top out like with like fandom, and that was like when I was like 21.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking with my like childhood hero
That's
about his final
wild.
season while he's watching it on screen, and like you just like at that point you're like,
You're like, this is it.
I can
retire
like
now.
the only interview
Yeah,
I haven't
we've
really
made it.
done yet. I want to do JD obviously, and then and Trump. But I think there's
Yeah, I want to do Usha.
we can make
Usha
that
Vance.
happen.
We want to have Ram Palmer
I
come
think
in. We're
I
working
think I've
on
got a
it.
friend.
Yeah, she just
Yeah.
doesn't. She doesn't do a lot of media,
Yeah.
which I respect. But like it would be fun. We just have
She's
a
got to be.
conversation.
I bet she's a
It'd be great.
genius. She just seems like.
Oh,
Did you
oh
watch?
yeah.
Did you watch Hillbilly Elegy? Did you read the book? Have you done that?
I watched it. Yeah, I need
It's a
to
good
read the book.
audiobook. He does
It's
the
bad that I
audiobook.
haven't read the book. Oh, okay. There you go. I do a lot of Audible.
Hold on. If anybody,
I listen on Audible, but the movie made me
oh, there you
cry
go.
multiple times.
Look at this.
Very, very well done movie. EJ, half the show,
much.
EJ. We've talked about you for half the show.
Mormons don't guilt trip people into going on missions. They actually go on missions.
Yeah, I think it's
I
it's
watch.
nice. I have some friends who are Mormons.
I'm
They seem to enjoy it.
fascinated by the Mormon faith, and I've been to like every one of their landmarks that they let you tour. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Have you thought
God,
about
no.
becoming Mormon?
But
Okay.
sorry if you are. I'm sorry.
I'm not. No.
But I was my friends tried to convert me heavily because I had some Mormon friends, and so I went and did Temple
Sure.
Square, and they have the world's largest genealogy library. Physical genealogy. And so you
Oh, I
can go
did
do
know
your
that.
entire
Yeah.
genealogy. You know why they
Amazing.
have that? It's like part of their mission. Like older couples that live in Salt Lake do that. You know why they do it? So you go research your family.
No.
And Mormons have a cool thing that like no
Uh-huh.
other religion does. They do a couple of things no other religion does. And like so you go research your family, and then like on the back end they kind of take notes, and then they baptize like their kids get baptized multiple times a weekend for the dead to like save people who are dead.
That's
And so
that's very odd.
like in their faith, apparently, like when you get baptized, like if you're in the wrong place in the afterlife, and somebody gets baptized for you, you get the option to come out. They're like, "Hey, guess what? Mormons were right. You want out?"
That's very bizarre. Interesting.
When we find
Learning
out they're
learning things.
right,
I did not know that. I don't think they're right, but they have great
I've
hearts.
never met a
They're
mean
very
one.
generous
I've
people. They're
never
very
met a
kind people. I've
Mm-mm.
never met a mean Mormon. That's very true. I've never met a Mormon that wasn't incredibly kind. But some of their theology is like some of it's on,
We'll talk
and a
about
lot
this.
of it is.
We'll talk about this one
is
day. I
not.
have very, very good friends who are Mormon. I've read the Book of Mormon. It's an interesting
Have
read.
you really?
It's,
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
listen.
you,
I
educating
do.
yourself on
Wait till you find out my whole resume. It could be a whole. It takes 24 hours to like go through my entire resume, but I've done everything. It's really fun. Listen, let's get out of here. Hang on here because I want to continue this conversation with you, but not on a live for like 2 more minutes. All right. So thanks for
okay.
being here tonight, guys. Go follow
Okay.
Nobody's going to be able to find it. Virginia_Allen5.
Just
You guys not
Google
have, like, a-
Virginia Allen journalist.
You're a
I
big
pop
deal.
up.
You gotta work on that. You gotta get a better handle on that one.
Mm.
Oh,
Anyway,
by the way,
just Google it. You'll find it.
quick
Virginia
story.
Allen.
I introduced Ben Carson at an event once. I forgot to tell you. I'll tell the story another time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that after. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, what a cliffhanger.
Goodbye, everyone.